and welcome to MIP TV. And today it's Meet the Trainers, and I'm with the rather marvellous and splendid Steph Cooke from the Manchester Institute for Psychotherapy. So thank you for joining me.
Oh, thank you for saying I'm marvellous.
Yeah, well, I've sat on your show. Well, I'm in a unique position to say that, I think, Steph,
Yeah,
because
you are.
I've actually sat in on your training.
Oh,
And I think I might be one of your students. I think it's also one of the modules I was on. I can't remember which one it was.
yes, yeah.
Might be the child and adolescent.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, and as a teacher to teacher, I'm a teacher myself, I thought it was really good. I got a lot out of it.
Oh, well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. It's nice to get some feedback.
Yeah, it was really good.
Feedback.
So, hence the fabulous. So, so it's about meeting the trainers. Tell us a little bit about the kind of range of things that you teach at MIP.
I teach on the adult psychotherapy training integrative course, and also I sometimes teach on the child and adolescent integrative psychotherapy course. And I have been a trainer for quite a few years now, mostly at MIP. I have occasionally trained in other areas. Wolverhampton University, I trained on the PhD course, and wherever I get invited, I go.
There you go. You're like a wandering academic minstrel, are you?
Yeah. Wandering minstrel trainer.
Yes, and of course, one of the things that kind of really strikes me is that you cannot just be a TA trainer. You have to be accredited. Do you? Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. You have to get qualified first of all to be a psychotherapist.
Yes.
And then you go through a process of becoming a trainer. And so you have to, as you probably know, you have to jump through hoops.
Yes.
Get there before they say, "Yep, you can go away and do that now."
Yeah, it's interesting because I've got a teaching qualification, but mine's a generic one. So effectively, I can teach anything I know about, as I suppose anybody who's a teacher can. But
yeah.
I think what I'm coming to is that TA teaching is purely the kind of accreditation you get is for teaching your subject, which is quite different, I think, from maybe someone you might find in a college or a university where they may have a teaching qualification. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, because I have taught in a college.
Yes.
Having done the appropriate qualification. So, to become a psychotherapist trainer, I suppose a bit like a doctor, really. You have to be trained by people who are already trained as psychotherapists.
Yeah.
Who know their subject really well, who know the theory really well, so that you can get the full and absolute and utter most out of your training.
Absolutely.
So you become the best you possibly can to provide the best you possibly can service to the people who come to see you as clients.
Yeah, the paying customers, the students.
Yeah, paying customers, and obviously the better you are, the weller people get.
Yes.
Or else they go away not cured.
Yes. Yeah, in terms of training, I suppose the same's true there, isn't it? The more competent a teacher you are, the more competent students that you'll graduate.
Yeah. I think my value system, my philosophy about training is that what I would want for the trainee is to become the best they possibly can. So it's that unconscious competence.
Yes.
That you do what you do, but you're not really conscious of it because you're good enough.
Yes.
And you're excellent at what you do. You become a master at what you do. But my hope for the students is that not only do they become competent, but also they're ethical and they have passion, and that spills over into their practice, so that then the people that they work with really get a sense that the person they're working with is for them and with them.
Absolutely. So not just a sense of being academically robust, but also that side of psychotherapy training, which is about being ethical and about being a passionate, involved
Yeah.
person.
I mean, it's interesting because I often say this to people that I train. I said it isn't just about theory. It's about how you're able to connect with the other person in front of you and really meet them in the place that they need to be met. So there's kind of like a space in between. So they have their stuff, you have your stuff. But as long as you're able to meet them in the middle and say, well, let's have a look. Let's have a look at what's going on for you. So that the person really gets what they need to get from the relationship in order to change and move on.
Yeah, so it sounds to me like you teach not just a way of doing, but also a way of being.
Being, yeah, it is about being. Because, you know, let's face it, everybody has an impact on us, whether we're conscious of it or not. And we can't help bringing that experience, our own history, into the present sometimes in the therapeutic relationship. That's what we call transference. And that can be quite useful. It can be quite useful when somebody evokes something in you that makes you respond in a way that you wouldn't normally respond, because that can be a real fertile ground for change. So, for example, if you make a mistake in therapy, it doesn't always mean that you're a terrible person. It just means that you missed that person. And just to say, oh, actually, I think I missed you there, it's very curative, because the other person goes, they're admitting they got it wrong.
Yes, yeah. If they can give it, so can I. If they're human, I can be even more human.
And and history's not being repeated here, where my reality is being denied.
Yes.
So it's a very complex experience being in a relationship as a therapist, and so therefore as a trainer, I want people to really understand that it isn't just about knowing what's in the theory books, but it's also about knowing yourself and knowing what you bring into the relationship.
Yes.
And that is really important, because that's very curative.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Do you have a favourite piece of theory, Steph? Do you have one that kind of resonates with you a lot?
I quite like I quite like to think about things in a developmental way, because I think what people bring is usually about an unmet developmental need. Not always, but more often than not. So, I quite like to think about things in that way. So, not all of my knowledge is pure TA, as I'm an integrative psychotherapist. Yes. So, as you know, my background is in social work. And, when I was doing my training, we studied Bowlby, we studied Stern, Verdern, and all those people that worked in the child developmental arena. And so I quite like to think about people in those terms. And of course, later on in our training, we have people like Hargaden and Sills, who talk about the developed and the undeveloped self, and how in the therapeutic relationship that often gets repeated, and they bring that and they say, here it is, this is the bit I need to sort out, but I don't want to go there. But our job is to say, well, you don't have to go there, but here's a different way of being with it.
Yes. Sort of engaging with it from a different perspective, maybe.
Yeah. And very often those experiences are held on a somatic level. So I'm very interested in how people bring things into the therapeutic arena that are to do with what they feel physically.
Yes.
For example, for many years I worked with somebody who was covered head to foot in eczema. And as we began to, unfold the process of what that was about, it was about being in an intimate relationship, it's about being in contact, and it was trusting that she was lovable enough to be accounted for and being in a relationship, that the eczema began to go.
Wow.
Because she held everything somatically in her body. Yes. And so when she learned that she could be with how she felt and express it, she didn't have to internalise it. And of course, then her body didn't show it. She showed it.
Yes. Yes. Well,
So
I'm sure.
interested in the developmental
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, it sounds absolutely fascinating. I'm sure people watching this will be eager to find out more. So, as always, we'll put the link to Manchester Institute for Psychotherapy in. So if you want to,
Okay.
thinking about training or doing any courses, maybe speak to Steph directly. And always a pleasure speaking with you, Steph.
And you too, Rory.
And as always, Steph Cooke, thank you very much.
It's been a pleasure.